Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. And as what seems to be a fire alarm is going off, it stopped. So just in case you see any smoke wafting across me, or if I start to feel hot, you'll know that I'm in the middle of a blazing inferno. Sorry about that. I don't know if you guys could hear that. There was like something like a fire alarm going off here. Anyway, back to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. I'm still in exile here outside of my podcasting boudoir. I have tried to get some better audio setup, so hopefully everybody can hear me. Give me a thumbs up if you can. Give me a thumbs down if you can't. And if you give me a thumbs down and you can, you're really messing with my mind. But wanted to pop on, I suppose, and kind of strike while the iron is hot, and do a preview of Aston Villa versus Fulham, which for me is really going to be a definitive game as far as Aston Villa are concerned, and getting into Europe. Paddy, am I being over the top when I say that about this game against Fulham, or do you think that it's just another one in a long run of games that are going to define our season?
It is 100% the game that defines our season. It's important that we win this game. It's so important. If we're going to push on and get into Europe, if we lose tomorrow, if we lose on Tuesday, I think that's the end of the road. I think it kind of just bursts our bubble. But I'm totally confident that we can turn things around and get the 3 points, regardless of who's in goal. We'll just that is for me the definitive thing here. I hope that Emmy is feeling a good bit better, and hopefully that is just a gastric thing that will pass in the space of 24 hours and he can be back to full fitness. Remembering, of course, that he did actually start the game, so it can't have been too bad. But that's my worry. I've got a bit of stick on Twitter over the last couple of days saying that I was looking for a scapegoat. I actually wasn't looking for a scapegoat. Scapegoating is not what I do. But if somebody doesn't exactly fill me with confidence, I will 100% say it, regardless of what people wanted to hear. And I felt that the minute that ball went onto the pitch and we saw Olsen there, we saw our defence retreat an extra 10, 15 yards, which ultimately made me believe that they were worried about him. So that's the way it is. As a result, I'm very worried about him. I think given the run of fixtures we have compared to others, I think we might be okay, but it all hinges on getting 3 points on Tuesday.
I absolutely agree. And just want to go back on that point that you made about the Olsen confidence thing, and we're going to probably draw a line under it then until we have to talk about it potentially in the team sheet tantrum on Tuesday. But I want to talk about one of the big things. I said this in the Claret and Blue podcast. I think I said it in our podcast as well. And I'll probably say it in the Villa View podcast, which is on at 10 o'clock, which I'm doing after this as well. So it's been I'm like a podcasting concubine at the moment. The amount of podcasts I'm on. But it's the one big thing, one of the huge things was that Emi Martinez is able to play that diagonal pass out into a fullback. You know, that one, the kind of, what I like to call it is, I like to call it a high press and a mid block buster, because it goes out, and when it goes right, it goes brilliantly. It goes right out to the touchline, draws everybody across the field, and it allows the other fullback to get forward. It allows our midfield to get set, and it allows every Buendia to do his thing to find space in the middle of the field. Robin Olsen can't do that, and it does limit them what Unai Emery can do. So from the point of view of, I suppose, scapegoating or whatever, or not scapegoating, I don't even know how I got into the realm of using that. But from the point of view, I suppose, of pointing out that the confidence levels do drop. For me personally, that's one of the biggest ones, is that, like, the feet aren't there, the passing isn't there, the range of passing isn't there, the ability to be able to beat that high press, low mid block beater that Martinez has very much devised, is that's gone out of the arsenal, that's gone out of us. And what we're reduced to then is the balls to the side of the box, or the ball straight ball out to Dendonkers or to the Douglas Luiz of this world, which you've been caught with previously. So for me, that downgrade is huge. But and that's why the reason we're talking about it, I suppose, is because the elephant in the room is that this Fulham game, I can't remember, we didn't have any other injuries yesterday, did we? No, we didn't.
Just the usual ones that were there beforehand.
Yeah. And I think that's right. I think we won't see anybody back for this game. So I suppose the real main talking point is, will we have our Argentinian World Cup winner in goals or not? And if we do, well, then that rises all boats. I think that rises up. Yeah, Neil looks like he's rocking the 90s Walkman. I'll tell you, it's better than putting in the AirPods. And while AirPods are absolutely fantastic, through StreamYard, which we use, the audio quality gets very muffled, and it sounds like I'm talking on my phone, like I've rang into the show. So hopefully this is a bit better. It's a bit clearer, and it's less kind of bass heavy than the other ones.
Spicy Pricey says, "This is why I love you, Paddy. You're preferable cat amongst the pigeons." I genuinely not trying to be controversial. I think I may give it up if people are not happy with me telling it like it is. That's exactly how I feel. We're 6 minutes in, Neil, and I meant to do this at the start. People are a little bit deflated today. So if there's somebody out there that wants to go to the game on Tuesday that doesn't have a ticket, send me a message.
I want to go.
And we'll get you to the game. Obviously, make sure you have a fan ID. Make sure you're available to go to the game. But usual sources, send me a message on Instagram or Twitter at VillaPaddy or villapaddy82@gmail.com will get me too. But there's an adult and a child there. If you want to bring a child with you, bring a child with you. But it's open to anybody who listens to the podcast. I won't be putting this on Twitter. So if you want it, send me a message this evening. Get it to me by, allow people listen to it tomorrow. By 3 o'clock tomorrow, we'll pick one and someone will go to the game on Tuesday.
Good man, Paddy. Excellent. And they won't get to sit beside you, that's the only thing. So it takes out the so that could be a unique selling point. I don't know.
Nobody would want to be sitting beside me at a game. My son doesn't even like that at some stages.
Yeah, but he's going to be 18 next birthday, isn't he? So he's definitely that and that. Or is he 18 already? No, he's 18 next birthday.
Nearly
there. And that's brilliant, Paddy. Thank you very much for that. And as I say, anybody get in contact with Paddy, whether it be on Twitter or whatever, get in contact with Paddy, and he will at VillaPaddy on Twitter if you're not following him there. And it's a great gesture, Paddy, and could be the difference between somebody being the lucky charm and us getting into Europe. So that's fantastic. What was I going to say there? Oh yes. So before we get into the realms of this game, let's take a little trip down memory lane for a moment, to indulge us for a moment, because when we spoke about Paddy maybe being the proverbial cat among the pigeons a moment ago. We took. Sorry, the fire alarm has gone off again. Can anyone hear that?
It's a dishwasher or something, isn't it?
It could be. I don't know what it is, but it's beeping. I don't know if you guys can hear it anyway. Rest assured, there's no smoke so far anyway. But we're going to take it might actually be nice if there was a bit of smoke for this trip back through memory lane, because it'll look good on the broadcast. So we're going to take
smoke is never good, Neil, especially not indoors.
Yeah, as I say, it's like that Tommy Tiernan sketch. You could be sitting in a pub and the fire alarm could go off, and you could be beside a fireworks factory and a cardboard factory, a fireworks factory, and a detention centre for juvenile delinquents, and nobody would move in the pub in Ireland until they finished their pints. Anyway, that's a very niche joke that only Irish people will probably get. But we're going to take a little trip back there, because let's think back to where this club was when Fulham beat us 3-0. Let's do it for a couple of minutes, and we're going to give you a little taste of a couple of clips that myself and Paddy had from our post-match podcast about 30 minutes before we found out that Stephen Gerrard had been sacked. So let's take in this raw, raucous anger is all I'm going to describe it as. It was anger after that game. And I think about where we are with the manager we have now. So I'm going to add this one up here to the screen, and hopefully this plays, and hopefully you all can hear it. Wait a minute. Will people able to hear that one? No, because I played the wrong one. That's why. This is not me giving out about Fulham. We're talking about statures of clubs and so on and so forth. 3-0 against Fulham in the Championship was probably about clause. It was probably somewhere we could probably make an excuse for. I cannot make an excuse for 3-0 against Fulham when we've got international after international after international in our team now. When we've gone away and we spent €1 bazillion on players. And these players can play football. Like, these players can play football. And like players will go on and say, the players aren't good enough. Lads, they're the players we have. We're not signing 11 players. We can surely get a manager that can make these 11 players some way semblance of a decent team. And we've had a guy in here for the bones of 40 matches who hasn't done it. The buck stops at the top. And the top of the playing pyramid is Steven Gerrard. You can talk about Purslow or Lang as all you like. That is beside the point. If we sack Purslow in the morning, doesn't change what happens on the field. Forget about it. I don't want to hear about that tonight. I don't want to hear Purslow tonight. This is not me giving out about football. So that's number one. That's the first one. And if you guys can think of my normally mild-mannered, jokant kind of demeanor at the best of times, that pissed Neil. That's Neil. That's like if Paddy had a crowbar and a semi-automatic machine gun, he wasn't getting a word in edgeways there. I was on a rant at that stage. But it's mad to think back as to where we were there, and it was just a case of like, if and I don't like to kind of I'd like to think myself as a positive person, but that's wit's end what you've seen there, and I can assure you that a lot of other fans were there, and thank God we aren't in that situation anymore, Paddy. Thank God we aren't in that situation.
I was just a little bit worried there because somebody actually drew our attention to this on Twitter the other day, and that's how this has come about. And we both listened to it back that afternoon. So I was kind of going, which bit of it is he going to play here?
We have another one. There's another one that I want to play as well in a moment. But we'll which one was that? Is this the one? No, that's exactly the same one that I played there a moment. But Paddy, like I think that at the time there was a lot of blame going around for a lot of people. There was blame going from the top all the way down. And I genuinely felt at the time, and I'm going to toot my own horn, I felt at the time the players were good enough. I felt we needed a manager just to come in and basically make this team a team again, because Dean Smith was able to do it. Steven Gerrard clearly wasn't able to do it. And we've gotten the right manager in to do it. And look at the results that we're getting at the moment. Yep. And look, this isn't about me going, hey, look, I told you so, or anything like that to anybody. But it was the reality of the situation we were in at that time. And the club played a blinder. They played an absolute blinder with regards to hiring Steven Gerrard when they did, or to hiring Unai Emery when they did, and sacking Steven Gerrard when they did, and they deserve an awful lot of credit for that.
100%. And look, I suppose the main takeout of this is the fact that you said there's good players in there. We knew there were good players. There was one. Lee Evans made a comment here. What upsets me is how Gerrard played mind games of very decent players. The way he treated Tyrone Mings, who had a lot of money in the bank with us at the time, really broke me and really changed me towards him. And we're now at the situation where we are effectively, Moreno aside, are playing the exact same team, and look at the results and look at what a good manager can do. So we took a punt on the rookie manager. It didn't pay off. We're looking up now. We're just so happy. It actually makes me cringe looking at my face in that, because we were in a dark place. The club was in a dark place back then. So, and you know what? I'm a lot more positive about life in general while Villa are doing well. So it's great to be where we are now, despite the fact that we had a poor performance yesterday. And I think, as we said before the match, I was expecting a poor performance to come at some stage. I wasn't expecting it yesterday. I was expecting United to turn us over next week. But here we are. We're still in with a fighting chance of Europe, despite the fact of the start that we had where Emery took us over. It's absolutely incredible to be in the position we're in. So I'll just sit here and cringe now and wait for the next clip.
Next clip. I think actually, Paddy, I was saying to you beforehand that I had 5 clips cut up from this podcast. And I'll be honest with you, there were 5 clips where we were bang on the money, I think, with a lot of things that we said. But we weren't saying anything that was completely and utterly out of the blue. We were saying things that every Villa fan was saying. That's why we're looking back on this. That's why we're showing it. This is another one. We had 5 clips. I could only get 2 to play on this system for whatever reason. So if you think that I've cut Paddy out of the conversation, I probably have, but I didn't mean to do it. Okay, I didn't mean to do it. So this one here is called
That's okay with me.
Players don't believe in what they're being asked to do. That's what this clip is called. I'm not exonerating Steven Gerrard in any way, but players quit tonight. players quit in the second half tonight.
I believe so.
Because they don't believe in what they're being asked to do. Not because they're bad players, or not because they don't have heart. They don't believe in what they're being asked to do. I felt they gave time to Steven Gerrard at times. I feel that there was signs, and I didn't want to say it after the Nottingham Forest game. I did not want to say it. I felt that there was a bit of frustration, or a bit of like, well, I'm just going to go through the motions here because this guy doesn't have a clue. That's not exactly what I want to see either. But specifically, this comes from the top down. This guy in the dugout was a fantastic leader for his country and for his club, and he can't band a group of men together because he's not, like, he comes across as somebody who just isn't interested anymore.
Well, he thinks he's bigger than the club. That's the way he comes across to me.
I don't know. It's really, really, really strange. I'm not. So that was the other one. And as I say, that game against Fulham, we can all look back at it. And we're going to draw a line under that game now. But as I said, the sliding doors moment for Villa's season was Fulham. It was Fulham, that Fulham away game. And that's why we're harping on this, because the night and day situation that we're in. And once again, I think that game was epitomised by the fact that you had players just like put their hands in their pockets in the middle of the game, not because they're bad players, not because they're bad attitude, not because they don't have heart, not because they don't love the club, because they were kind of going, what are we supposed to do here, lad? You know, like, you're playing a system that isn't working. And the definition of insanity, as we all know, Einstein never said, is whatever he was supposed to have said. And it's like, we are where we are now, you know.
And look, Neil, you've played lots of sports. I've played lots of sports. We've all stood on a pitch and looked across at the idiot standing with the clipboard in his hand and went, what's going on here? What are we at anything here? And that's exactly how those players felt that night. It was just an absolute mess. And as you say, it was the Everest of and he fell off the cliff, you know, in half an hour after that game, while we were broadcasting that podcast. He was being told, that's it, good luck, and had to sit on the bus all the way back to Bodymore Heath, which gave me a little bit of a chuckle the next day when I heard that, because, you know what, I think he deserved it. I think he deserved to be around the people that he messed about and pissed off. And look, he's apparently at Notts Forest at the moment. Did you hear that going on? He's apparently helping out in Notts Forest, and Jurgen Klopp completely blanked him at the match yesterday because Steven Gerrard's son was mascot for Liverpool, but he had been on the Notts Forest training ground for the last few days. So, strange one.
I can understand why he's with Forest, because he worked with Steve Cooper, and there goes whatever it is again. He worked with Steve Cooper for a period of time with the underage. So I've no problem. Like, obviously, nobody should have any problem with him getting back into sport or whatever. And if he does something that keeps Forest up, more power to him. Just Villa was not the fit for him, and to be honest with you, it's a case of, okay, we did what we did, and we had to get rid. Essentially, that was the case. But moving on, I suppose, and still draw a line under that Fulham game, because we've got about 7 minutes left before I have to hop over to the Villa View. But with this game during the week, Paddy, I think, did you watch Leeds Fulham game at the weekend?
I didn't. No.
I watched a good bit of it, and I found Fulham to be. There was parts of that game where I thought that these two teams could play for 270 minutes, and neither of the two of them would score. And then it finished up, I think it was 2-1 to Fulham. But Fulham are missing Mitrovic. They really are missing Mitrovic, but they've got a hell of a good midfield. Their midfield works really, really well, and it's going to be a big test for us from that point of view. But once again, we can go wide. We've got a better striker in our team than Fulham do at this moment in time. And I still think, even though we conceded 1 goal to Brentford and we rode our luck, I still think we're defending better than Fulham at the moment. So it really is in our hands in a home game to hit them early. And once again, as we say, if we get an early goal, we should be able to see this game out.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we have enough to go and boss this game regardless of who's in goal. I think we're in a really good place defensively. Barring that 15-20 minute period where they seem to try and bombard down Moreno's side, as a result led to Moreno being taken off. That's when we looked at our most vulnerable yesterday. I'm not by any means counting any chickens for Tuesday. If we lose, we lose. But as long as those players are going out knowing what they need to be doing, and like we've spoken about this many times, there's a number of positions where we can't afford players to be out. Ollie Watkins is one. We need one of those defensive midfielders. We need Douglas Luiz, or we need Boubacar Kamara, or both to be fit. We need our two centre halves to be fit, and we need Emi Martinez. Emi Martinez is vital to us.
Class.
I think a lot hinges on that, which is exactly how I'm feeling about the game. I think when we get news at whatever 25-7 on Tuesday of who's playing in goal, I think there could be a collective sigh of relief in the West Midlands that would knock the darkest of clouds away from Villa Park on Tuesday night, and that is it's vital. It's vital to our season, because the season could be, no, don't get me wrong. I was going to say something there, and I'm backtracking now, but it could define our season, these two games. If we sit here on Tuesday night and do a post match, and we've only got 1 point from these 3 games, Europe is effectively gone. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, because we're in a much better place, and I'm fully confident that with a couple more players, we'll be in Europe for many years to come, providing we can hang on to this manager and allow him to build on what his MO is in getting these teams over the line. But like Ian Salisbury says, are people actually angry? Did people think we were going to? No, I don't think. I hope I haven't given off that impression. I'm definitely not angry after yesterday, and I hope if someone watches back the post match, I think collectively we're all happy that we come out of that with a point, given everything that went on, given the lack of a performance in the first half. I don't envisage that Unai will allow the players we have a first half like we did on Saturday. So it could be the catalyst for the next 6-7 games, whatever's left. That every time they go to do well, it's please let this not be our first 45 minutes at Brentford. We need to be more at the races. Everybody needs to be more at the races. And we did give great credit to Thomas Frank and his team for how they set up against us to nullify us and did a great job. And Fulham could do the exact same thing on Tuesday night. We've just got to be prepared for it.
And they're very much good, because, as I say, that the man himself, oh God, I can't remember his name, Marco Silva, has done a fantastic job there as well. So they were relegation fodder. Like anybody can sit here and say that they were relegation fodder, potential relegation fodder anyway at the start of the season, and they've had an absolutely marvelous season. They obviously are going to stay in the Premier League. They could get European football. They're probably the outsiders for it. Well, they definitely are the outsiders for it in the top nine at the moment, top 10. But like us, they go on a 5-match winning spree. They potentially could sneak into 7th place as well. Albeit unlikely as it is, but it still could happen. But they're not in the beach. I watched them against Leeds. I thought maybe first half they were, and they came out and they've got players there to play for pride, the likes of Decordova Reid, the likes of Andres Pereira. Palhinha in middle midfield doesn't allow anybody's levels to slump. He's a real good leader. Yeah. He tackles like a machine in there. And Tim Ream at the back is a good player too. So don't forget they've got a good goalkeeper in Bert Leno as well, who got a really sharp shift at Arsenal. So it's going to be a tough game. I'm not going to give my prediction on it yet, because once again we'll see what the team is, and we will be back with a team sheet tantrum at 25-7 on Tuesday, and we should know more then. And I would imagine potential changes we might see Lucadine in for the Alex Moreno. Who knows? We might see a change in the back with Ashley Young being taken out of the firing line.
Yeah,
it's an interesting one to keep an eye on.
We could see Callum Chambers in there for sure. But as I said, regardless of every other change we make over the pitch, our spine needs to be the same. And the most important thing is that backbone right at the end, just above the arse of our team. And that's Emi Martinez. And I think that is the be all and end all. If Emi Martinez is 80% fit, he has to start on Tuesday.
I think so too. Absolutely. Well, let's go and do it for today, lads. And lasses, should I say? I know everybody here. We spoke about bit about Martinez at the start. I know we went into looking back through down memory lane, back to this game earlier on in the season as a sliding doors moment. And I hope you've enjoyed it tonight. We'll be back with a team sheet tantrum on Tuesday at 6:35. We call it Irish time, British time, whatever. And we will see you then. We'll be back with a post match as well. Brilliant. Exactly. Take it as you may, but seemingly Louise has confirmed on Twitch that Martinez is good to go for Tuesday. Love to hear it. Absolutely. If that is the case, you'll see us singing all the way on the team sheet tantrum.
Yeah.
I am going jumping on with Dan Bardell and the Villa View now. If anybody still wants a Villa fix for the next half hour, you can drop over there to the Villa View. But you guys are all going to be over there anyway. So we will be chatting more about the Brentford game on that. But thank you very much, Paddy. Thank you much everybody for watching tonight. I hope you all stay safe and you stay healthy. And until next time, all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.